Hey, Unbound ones. It's Nicola Humber here. Nearly forgot my own name then. Author of Unbound, founder of the Unbound Press, and writing mentor to magical beings like you. And today I want to talk about three specific things that helped me to really get started with my writing and to write my first book, which was Heal Your Inner Good Girl. And I wrote that, well, it was out in 2016, so I started writing it in 2015. And the reason I want to share this today is it feels very present at the moment because we've just started a new round of the Unbound Writing Mastermind. So I'm holding space for a group of women who are all coming together at the start of their book writing journey. And, you know, sometimes we can have all kinds of questions about how to get started with writing a book, which can stop us from moving forwards and actually getting it done. And that was the case for me. Like, for many years before I actually kind of really committed to writing my first book, it was something that I'd wanted to do. It was something that I'd started to do many times before and drifted away from. So, like I said, I want to give you these three specific things that can really help you to get momentum in your book writing practice. The first one, which I just alluded to, is to make a really strong commitment to writing your book, because very often it's something that you've been thinking about. Maybe it's been a dream since you were a little kid. Maybe it's been on your goal list year after year, but to actually make a really strong commitment, a really clear commitment to yourself and also to the book that wants to come through you, that yes, I am doing this. And there's a number of ways you can do this. I do recommend making some kind of public declaration. Like, you might share a post on social media, you might share it with your email list, you might make that commitment to your family or friends. I think I made a public declaration when I started writing my book, but I'd kind of done that before actually and then drifted away. So this time what I did differently with my first book was I got an accountability buddy, someone else who was writing her first book at the time, and we would meet up on Skype once a week to check in with how we were doing. That was really powerful for me. So making a strong commitment and having somebody there for accountability, whether that's a friend or a coach or a mastermind group, whatever it is, that is really powerful. So that's the first thing. The second thing was giving myself permission to write in a way that felt good for me. So there's lots of kind of advice out there about what it means to be a writer, and that you've just got to show up every day and be at your desk writing. If you want to write a book, you've got to put the hours in, all of this stuff. And actually that doesn't work for me. And if you're like me, it's probably the same for you. We're unbound. So freedom is like a key value for me, as I'm sure it is for you. I need to feel like freedom and flexibility, and that applies to my writing practice as well. But what I did do when I was writing Heal Your Inner Good Girl was I did commit to writing at least something every day. And when I say every day, that was kind of Monday to Friday. So I would show up and do some writing every single day. But that may have just been 5 minutes. I mean, it was usually around 30 minutes. I'm not the kind of person who can write in big chunks of time. I get something that wants to come through and I will write it and then I'm done. So it's usually no longer than 30 minutes. But like I said, I was making that commitment to show up every day for my book in some way, but for really small chunks of time. And that felt good for me because it felt free. It felt committed, but also there was enough flexibility that if I showed up one day and it really felt like the words weren't flowing, I wouldn't push it. I would give myself 5 minutes or so. If they really weren't coming, I would say, okay, I'll come back to this tomorrow. And I knew that I would come back to it tomorrow. So I was making a strong commitment to my writing practice without feeling really rigid around it. So that is my second kind of tip, really, is to find a way of writing that feels committed, that feels that there's an element of discipline there, but it feels good for you, it feels free for you. The third thing was I started before I was clear on what the book would be about. So it's kind of starting before you feel completely ready. You gain clarity through writing, and that's definitely what I found when I started. When I said, yes, I'm writing a book, I had no real idea what it would be about specifically. I knew it would be based on the work that I was doing and my own journey, but I really didn't have a clear sense of what that was. But I kind of knew that through writing that would become clearer, and it did. You know, as soon as I made that strong commitment to, yes, I am doing this, within a couple of days, like the title dropped in, Heal Your Inner Good Girl. And I was like, oh, okay, I can do something with that. I knew that the inner good girl, you know, this was a theme I was very familiar with, although I'd never used those exact words to describe it. But it was the part of us that wants to fit in, please others, get it right. So when the title dropped in, I was like, yeah, okay, I can work with that. It wasn't like the whole book was mapped out from that point, but it gave me kind of a starting point that I could move forwards with and, you know, start to bring in themes that related to the inner good girl. So like my third tip is really to start before you have clarity, you know, make that commitment first, show up for your writing practice in a way that feels free for you, that feels good for you, but also has an element of discipline, and know that you will gain clarity through writing. You know, this is something we were talking about in the mastermind call this morning. When you make that commitment to writing your book, you create like this energetic container within which it will take form. And you know, everything that is happening in your life from that point can be material for your book. You know, things that are coming up for you, things that might be coming up for your clients, things that you're noticing happening in your kind of communities, online and in person, things that are happening in your family, in society in general. You will start to notice, oh, okay, that can relate to my book, and you can use that as inspiration. You will receive those breadcrumbs of inspiration along the way. It's very likely that it won't all be clear at the beginning. That's never been my experience. So allow yourself to follow that guidance, follow that inspiration, and know that you will gain clarity through the writing process. So those are the three things that really helped me with writing my first book, and I feel they could absolutely be helpful for you as well. If you are feeling the call to write a book and you really want to write the book like your soul is calling you to write at this time, you know, that specific book that's wanting to come through you, and you are looking to gain some support with that, I would love to help you. I currently have some spaces available to work with me to help you to write a book and grow an audience of passionate readers and prospective clients. So I will pop the link below this video. You can check out all the details and apply for a complimentary exploratory conversation with me. I'd love to have a chat with you about your writing plans, and we can see how we'll move forward from there. But if you've got any questions about anything I've shared, again, just put them below this video and I will come back and answer them. All right, my love. Here's the writing the book your soul is calling you to write, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.